Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, President Trump, quote, ready to unleash if Iran does not make a deal. Putting down the gauntlet, saying it is time for you to absolutely come to the table. We've bombed you into submission, and we're going to keep going until you agree to the terms that a civilized society should agree to. But there are a lot of reports tonight that Iran is saying, too bad, we're not accepting it. So if that is indeed the case of what's happening even behind the scenes, sometimes, of course, what you hear in front of the scenes is different. But if that is indeed what they're hearing behind the scenes, it's going to be a very bad Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and beyond for Iran. And everybody's also still talking about this that we talked about last night. Former CIA director under Obama, John Brennan, and his disgraceful comment that he said that he supports essentially and believes Iran more than President Trump. Who could forget this? Take a listen to what John Brennan said, and everybody's up in arms about this today.
I am confused how the President of the United States can credibly stand up there before the cameras under the wing of Air Force One and claim the conversations have been had that apparently haven't been had. And I'm also wary of taking the word of Iran. Like, they are an authoritarian regime who's known to lie. But, like, I'm confused. What is going on? Help me. Calm me down.
Well, I tend to believe Iran more than I do Donald Trump, because he could not acknowledge the truth even when it is, he's slapped in the face with it repeatedly. And it's clear that, he is flailing right now. He's trying to figure out how he's going to get out of this debacle that he has created. And so he's going to make these claims about negotiations, that the Iranians now are sending signals that they really want to make a deal, and indicates that they're going to make a deal on our terms. I don't think anything close to the truth in that statement. They may be talking to people indirectly, and we know that the Turks and the Egyptians are trying to find some way to mediate this problem. So there could be some members, distant members of parliament that are out there that are speaking individually, but I don't believe there's anybody speaking authoritatively right now on behalf of the Iranian government with the Trump administration.
I don't believe the Trump administration. I believe the rogue terrorist regime. These people truly are nuts. It's the same people who are blocking funding for TSA and ICE, Department of Homeland Security. It's the same ones who essentially are saying that ICE are killers if they're sent to the airport. It's the same ones who are saying that ICE should be arrested if they show up and try to hasten and make the travel experience better for passengers. It truly is shocking and unbelievable. And here is Caroline Leavitt, by the way, talking about how President Trump yet once again is trying to see if Iran will come to the table. And this isn't the debacle Trump created. I would say by far it is, of course, the debacle and the disaster and the horrible policies of so many Democratic presidents, years upon years upon years, that brought us to this moment of appeasement where Iran was flush with cash, able to do a lot of things and menace so many people around the world, making America, quote, the big Satan, making Israel the little Satan. And I would say, thank goodness President Trump had the courage to take the strikes. And he will continue if they don't come to the table. He sent the 82nd is on the way. And many people are saying tonight they believe it is probably to do something tied to the Strait of Hormuz, so shipping can go through, or the other is Carg Island, where 92% of the crude oil goes through. So there's a lot going on there. Here is Caroline Leavitt talking about one more chance to come to the table or else.
The United States military continues to decimate the terrorist Iranian regime's offensive and defensive capabilities. Just over 3 weeks in, it's abundantly clear that Operation Epic Fury has been a resounding military triumph. More than 9,000 enemy targets have been struck to date. Compared to the start of the operation, Iran's ballistic missile attacks and drone attacks are down by roughly 90%. The United States is also annihilating the Iranian regime's navy. We have destroyed more than 140 of their naval vessels, including almost 50 mine layers. This is the largest elimination of a Navy over a 3-week period since World War II. Again, let me reiterate, this is the largest elimination of a Navy on the face of the planet in a 3-week period since World War II. We are systematically dismantling Iran's defense industrial base, which will prevent future threats to the region. Our military also remains laser focused on eliminating the regime's threat to the free flow of energy through the Strait of Hormuz. Over the weekend, we dropped several 5,000-pound bombs on an underground facility used to store equipment, including anti-ship cruise missiles and mobile missile launchers positioned along the coastline of the strait. Our military efforts grow more successful with each passing day, steadily degrading Iran's ability to terrorize merchant ships. For all of these reasons, we are very close to meeting the core objectives of Operation Epic Fury, and this military mission continues unabated. From the outset, President Trump and the Department of War estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve this critical mission. 25 days in, the greatest military the world has ever known is ahead of schedule and performing exceptionally. Day by day, the Iranian regime is being crippled, and their ability to threaten the United States and our allies is being significantly weakened. Their ambitions of building a nuclear weapon have also been crushed to an even greater degree than they were in Operation Midnight Hammer in June 2025. That's why you're beginning to see the regime look for an exit ramp. They recognize they are being crushed, their ability to attack American and ally forces, as well as their ability to defend their own territory is dwindling literally hour by hour. Following President Trump's powerful threat on Saturday evening, it was made clear to the United States that Iran wanted to talk. President Trump is willing to listen. As President Trump announced on Monday, the United States has been engaged over the last 3 days in productive conversations, which led the president to temporarily instruct the Department of War to postpone planned strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure only. The remaining elements of the Iranian regime have another opportunity to cooperate with President Trump, permanently abandon their nuclear ambitions, and cease actively threatening America and our allies. But the president's preference is always peace. There does not need to be any more death and destruction. But if Iran fails to accept the reality of the current moment, if they fail to understand that they have been defeated militarily and will continue to be, President Trump will ensure they are hit harder than they have ever been hit before. President Trump does not bluff, and he is prepared to unleash hell. Iran should not miscalculate again. Their last miscalculation cost them their senior leadership, their Navy, their Air Force, and their air defense system. Any violence beyond this point will be because the Iranian regime refused to understand they have already been defeated and refused to come to a deal.
But they are fanatics, and fanatics need to be pounded to the ground to submission. That's why I was telling you earlier, I love this line from a general saying that war is a test of wills, and you have to pound them into submission when you are dealing with fanatical, radical regimes. And I can't think of almost anybody more radical than the Islamist regime there in Iran.